sum up together in a summary of all you have talked about NIDO, will it be fair to say that NIDO has failed?
No, we have not failed. Because
when will they be qualified to vote?
Yeah, when is after 3
Let's
months?
say they registered in April. When are they supposed to?
Yeah, then May, June, July. They are supposed to be eligible from July.
From July. So I don't know why. So that's the crux of the matter. But this other group is still insisting that they are supposed to, they are eligible by now. The controversy is that 3 months, the way they were calculating the 3 months. How does it work, the calculation, from your own as a neutral body now, person now, who has no parochial interest in all of this issue, but we just want to see from your own good church mind. How does this thing, how is it calculated? So we show a clip of what happened that day for those of you who were not there. And
I withdraw the statement. These same people that are making trouble today, why the people that say no?
who are the particular people making this trouble?
The particular person is Osla.
What is his interest or motive?
No, but no, she is like that. Okay, how are you going to bring all of them?
Right. Yes. Is there any particular reason why this election was disrupted today?
Well, yes. The issue there is an issue of membership. It was being argued by the outgoing chairman that some members are not qualified.
Asking for their rights, talking about the violations of their rights. So I think from there we can know.
In today's situation, where do you think the constitution was violated?
The major problem is I'm a lawyer, and I can tell you.
You're a lawyer.
Yes, I have.
Where is the constitution violated?
In
today.
All fairness.
But this controversy today, who do you actually think is responsible? I mean, who could you lay finger on?
I wouldn't say an individual. It's a collective will. And then we allow it.
We allow it.
I think we've done it the other way and it would have been better for us. That's the way.
What do you have to say about the attitude of Mr. Chairman?
The attitude of Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I said my comment.
Personal win.
Personal wins.
Win. We're taking precedent. That is the problem we have.
Okay, please, I want you to critically, carefully, one by one, analyze each word you speak.
Okay.
Personal whims or sentiment is trying to take precedent.
Yeah.
What is personal whims here?
Okay, I tell you one thing.
Yeah.
The present chairman some time ago, he went to bring import people on the very day of the election.
Okay.
He imported people.
He imported
people.
When I was chairman of Association of Ogun State Indigenes in Ireland, went back home, provide water through borehole in some localities, went to some schools and said, okay, let's renovate this place and make it a library.
But the truth is just that there is a loophole in that constitution which ought to have been filled.
What is the loophole that you identified in that?
The loophole in that constitution is the fact that it gives room to people to pay. If you read section 24 of that constitution, it gives room to pay, immediately payable. That's
and
the
they become a member.
And they become member immediately. That is actually wrong.
So why was that a problem today?
Why was it a problem today? I really don't want to, because people are beginning to realize their rights.
Yeah, so we're just chatting now with Mr. Dotun. I want to thank you for being so generous and free-spirited to have at least granted us an interview in your home. Many people these days are so paranoid. They don't, when they see people, especially their fellow black Africans, they go scared, maybe, I don't know why, maybe because of the high rate of crime in Africa as against what we have here in Europe. But you are one such person that, freely liberated and, are so easy. And if I think it's one of your reading, I'm going to read it in your profile. It came out, somebody who did that right up got you very well. It said approachable, pragmatic, and friendly and all of that. That you have demonstrated, but so the first impression you gave us coming to you, and then you just granted this interview. We are so grateful. Thank you very much, Mr. Dotun. And yeah, and so on that note, we begin today's program. Be my guest, the Gift of the Show, anchoring on Diaspora TV Dublin. Today, we have the privilege to host or present to you one of Nigeria's most respected and revered personality, a professional facilitator who has initiated a number of projects in aid of the community, the society, and for the development of infrastructures and other areas of human endeavors. He is a chartered accountant by profession, who primarily started career as an economist and progressively attained academic/professional qualifications in strategic management. A career-driven professional, chartered accountant, and management strategist with over 30 years working experience in diverse fields, private, non-governmental organizations, NGO, and government sectors in Ireland, in Africa. Direct, approachable, and pragmatic person, his focus is always on delivering changes that matters for an entity through adoption of best-in-class processes, modern methodologies, and continuous improvement culture. Though born in Nigeria but made in Ireland, his 19 years residency in Ireland has brought him closer to people of multicultural diaspora communities. This availed him the opportunity of giving back to the community, thereby exercising his natural attributes of excellent community spirit and passion for community service. His specific area of relevant expertise include innovation in governance, strategic management, risk and compliance, advisory roles at board, executive and business levels, investment appraisals, and risk-based planning. Over the last 18 years, Mr. ADEGBESAN has led some community integration projects and initiatives in Ireland and Africa. He left private sector and moved to public sector in the last 12 years till date. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Mr. Dotun Donald ADEGBESAN to the program. Mr. Dotun, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We have just read a little bit of your profile. I just don't know if there's those things we read were just in line with your prescription. Are they in order?
Yeah, that's my A to Z.
That's your A to Z. All right, thank you very much for that. But we would like to begin by telling all the schools, institutions, universities that get any all of those are, your professional identity.
Yes, thank you for having me on this your platform.
Thank you.
Like you said in my profile that you read, I was born and brought up in Nigeria, originally from Ogun State, but live all my life throughout while I was in Nigeria in Lagos. My first degree was from University of Ibadan. I graduated as economist in the 90s. Then afterwards, of which I went out of Nigeria. I lived in the Gambia for 5 to 6 years.
Okay. When did you leave Nigeria?
I left Nigeria in 1991.
Okay.
Then I lived in the Gambia for 5 to 6 years. Was part of the community there. I contributed a lot in the community, in the Gambia community as a Nigerian, and I left a good legacy and landmark while I was in the Gambia. From there, I moved to. Did you lead any notable Nigerian organization in Gambia? There was no defined Nigerian organization, but the Nigerian community there, I led them successfully, helped them in getting things done for them, getting the right job, putting them on the right, and I also work closely with Nigerian embassy there. So unofficially, because there was no official registered organization for us to work with. So so working in the community has been part of me, and I did that very well and in a very structural way before I left the country. Then I came to Republic of Ireland as a student, and that was when
Sorry to cut you short. Did you work in any government sector in Gambia?
No, I worked on private sector throughout my stay in the Gambia. Then I came to Ireland as a student, and that was when I got my chartered profession as a chartered management accountant. And the final exam was written in 2003. Yeah, I started the exam here in 1999. Went back to the Gambia and came back here to write the final papers of certificates of management accountant, and I stayed afterwards. And the same year when I got admitted into the council of the chartered management accountant, that was when I also obtained my master's degree in strategic management in Ireland. And since then I've been putting in my best to see how I can make a difference in the community, personally, privately, and among other communities that lives in Ireland.
Well, I'm going to pose this question, but I think you have in the course of explaining and describing your profile, you've touched it, which has to do with being a member of a professional body that I have seen. You're a member of one, the ACMA, right?
Yeah.
And which other one? G something some CMA.
Yes, it's the same kind of management accountant professional bodies, but one is American, USA registered, while the other one is UK registered.
Okay. Your profile stated you worked as in a private and the non-governmental and governmental sectors. Here in Ireland, you worked.
When I got chartered in 2003, I've worked in different private sectors here in Ireland. And when I say private sector, different companies, different private companies, before I joined Dublin City Council.
Okay, Dublin City Council. Okay.
13 years ago as a chartered accountant.
Okay.
So I'm still with them up to today.
Okay, up to today.
Then I give people private consultancy, especially community organization, community businesses, to help them in fulfilling all their statutory requirements as far as accounting profession is concerned. I still give it to them up to today.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Now, we want to look at your service. We see that you're a person with an excellent, strong community spirit. You know, that desire, passion to serve your people, to be engaged in community affairs and the development and welfare of the community. And probably that's what could be one of your motives for which you dive into the politics of the Nigerians in Diaspora Organization. Are you part of the making of the Nigerians in Diaspora Organization now?
Well, if we say Nigeria in Diaspora, there are so many organizations out there that because they are based outside Nigeria, you can regard them as Nigerian Diaspora Organization. But the one you are specifically talking about is NIDO.
NIDO, yeah, okay, yeah, NIDO, exactly.
So, like, so many organizations are here that are even recognized back home in Nigeria, that are based outside Nigeria. So you can regard them as Diaspora.
With specification to NIDO.
Yeah. With specification to NIDO. Initially, I was not part of NIDO because I happened to be part of Association of Nigerian Professionals in Ireland called AMPI.
AMPI?
Yes, AMPI, Association of Nigerian Professionals in Ireland. And those are the parallel organizations that does what NIDO ought to be doing there and then some years back. And this was something over 15 years ago that I'm talking about. Then my working with Dublin City Council and my exposure and experience in seeing what the government of this country try to do in terms of inclusion, try to bring organizations of that has a background of ethnics, minority. They spend so much, they put in so much into the budget to assist organizations that are of ethnic base. And I can see that from my experience with Dublin City Council, they put so much budget on celebrating Chinese New Year, Indian Festival of Light, Russia Festival, and some other countries too. They put in budget, the city council put in budget to celebrate all that, to as a kind of policy of social inclusion and integration. Then based on that, I realized that, come on, where is Nigeria? Where is African?
Yes, that's what I'm going to ask.
So that was what brought me and prompted me to say, come on, we have to awaken our people of the relevance of being visible, being seen in the community where we are, and that is the only way we can actually be part of full integration and inclusion. And that was what prompted me to say, okay, I want to be part of what NIDO is doing.
Do you think you have that capacity to effect the kind of bringing the kind of change you want to advance, reflecting on the African society? I don't know if that question is clear.
Well, if I may understand you very well, we all have a role to play, regardless of wherever we work. But the point that the opportunities, the privilege are out there by the city council and other county council around the country, because it's not only the city council policy, it's a policy around the country, all the counties, trying to ensure inclusion, integration, and all that. So, and if we are not part of it, we will be sidelined. So, and that was the reason why I felt, okay, if I create this awareness among our people, that look, we need to be visible. We need to be seen as a united organization or entity that has structure. So making our people to be aware of that is very important, and so that they can understand. It's only when they understand it that everybody will be in position to make sure that we are part of this social inclusion. We are part of this effective integration in the community. It's not only in Dublin City Council, it's across the country, all the county council area. If you go on their website, see all what they say about social inclusion, see all what they say about integration. So they are all there for us, and we have Nigerians that lives around nationally, not only Dublin. So my reference is not only limited to Dublin, it's limited to national thing in terms of inclusion and integration.
So your involvement in NIDO, you said that's one of your aim of getting, seriously involved in NIDO, so as they can also be part of this social inclusion. How do you intend to do this?
Well, in all sincerity, 4 years ago, let me say 4.5 years ago, I was not actually interested in leading NIDO.
Okay.
I was just part of any other membership of NIDO. But I was invited. I was invited to come and lead NIDO. Not that I opted to.
Oh, you opted, okay.
Not that I opted to.
Okay, so now why being there, now decide to use your.
So I was invited to come and lead NIDO. That NIDO need a leader like me,
like you,
to turn things around, to make things go the right direction. So that was what brought me into NIDO leadership.
Okay.
And since, with all sincerity, with what I've seen and my exposure and experience, I brought it into the system to make sure that there is a structure in place, that will make all Nigerians that live across the country to have this benefit of social inclusion and integration. Because what NIDO, our aim and objective is all about is to take development back home.
Yeah.
If you yourself don't experience development here, what have you got to take back home? So, and that is the question that we need to be asking ourselves as Nigerians here, and not only Nigerians living in Dublin, Nigerians living nationally. So, and that is the structure I brought into NIDO. That if we are to go by NIDO object, taking development home, we have to get developed here first. Yeah. So once we are well developed here and well integrated here, that is when we can now say shoulder to shoulder back home in Nigeria, because those people there, they are not sleeping, they are not relaxing. They are upgrading themselves every now and then. And you won't take something that is not too great to them and say this. So that is the area where we have issue at NIDO level, where people are not understanding the fact that you have to be developed here so that you'll be in position to take development back home. So, and that has been my position in the last 4 years, to make sure that we have a structure in place, and once we have structure in place, we'll be able to influence policy at different county, council level. So at the end of the day, once we know that Nigerians are not Dublin Nigerians, they are Nigerians in all counties, doing very well, influencing policy, part of what is going on in the community there. I myself, I belong to membership of some community organization here in Dublin, and I'm part of board of director of some community structure here. The people that are put in place to influence policy are people that lives within that community. The library you see in your community, though owned by the government, but not run by the government, but the people around that lives in that community are the people on the board of trustees. The same thing with cooperative union, the same thing with community centers, the same thing with health board, all school board, all those things are run and managed by people that live in that community. And it is through that you get to know people that matter in your community, because you are part and parcel of those people that make decisions in that community. So, and that is the kind of things that we're hoping that if Nigerians have a structure organization in all those counties, are you getting me? So we have Nigerians in all those places, just like they have other countries, indigenous, nationals in all those places. So we will not be left out in the community where we are living. But if we are not a strong umbrella entity, we cannot achieve that. We cannot ask questions. Because if you want to ask questions in any community, they say, oh, under whose authority are you asking this? So that is the kind of structure I brought into NIDO that was not in NIDO. That I brought into NIDO so that Nigerians can see themselves as leaders, not leaders in just one place, leaders in every place they find themselves.
All right, thank you very much. So you keep on mentioning 4 years. Is your tenure lasted from, is it a 4-year tenure in NIDO?
No,
the presidency.
NIDO chairmanship is 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. Did you run for?
I did second
term.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think that you were able to achieve your goal, your dream?
Every one of us knows that it's not easy to manage Nigerians. Anytime you come with a genuine intention, many people will talk about, oh, maybe this person has got ulterior motive for having a particular intention. So I did not have my own personal goal as to what NIDO should be, but we've made a lot of progress.
You made a lot of progress.
We made a lot of progress.
Can you give us one remarkable instance of what NIDO has been able to establish back home?
Like I said to you, it is only when you develop here that you can be able to take development back home.
So you mean that you have no remarkable development has taken place here so far?
Yeah, if you like, even today, I won't even say 4 years ago or 5 years ago, if you ask anybody NIDO, they will tell you what is NIDO, that they don't even know what NIDO is all about.
Yes.
Are you getting me? So it's not a brand that is known to Nigerians here, talk less of non-Nigerians. It's not a brand. It's a brand that is only known to some few Nigerians that participate in it. I get so we have not witnessed that development. Though individuals that have their own NGO here, that I know personally, have taken development back home. They've taken their colleagues back home. When I say colleagues, they are business associates, they are professional associates. They've taken them back home to Nigeria to be part of development in Nigeria. I know of an organization here that every year they take medical personnel to Nigeria every summer, including Irish medical personnel. They go as a team to Nigeria every summer. Sometimes they spend 6 weeks there interchangeably. That's an NGO run by a Nigerian that takes development home every year. And the guy has been doing it, and I know that other guys too. But from NIDO perspective, we are still not there at all. We are far away from it. But there are some Nigerians that are doing that already here, taking development back home.
Individuals
that runs organizations.
Yes. Oh, okay, they run
individuals. They run organizations.
Okay, and you didn't NIDO and its functionaries or the executives didn't think of partnering with some of these top, personalities, so and even bring them into NIDO's membership so that they can make an impact.
That's a very good question that I throw out to Nigerians out there. If you talk, when at my first year as NIDO leader, I try to bring all these professionals that I know very well, to bring them on the table, and they tell you that from the history of NIDO, it's not a good place for you to go into, or you get dirty. Yes, they say you get dirty.
From the history.
Yeah. So you get dirty, people will dirty you.
Wow.
They will dirty your profile, they will dirty your personality.
Did you ask him at least an instance of what they are talking about?
Well, I've witnessed it myself. I witnessed it myself as a leader. But I just believe that Nigeria will remain Nigeria, and Nigeria will remain in Nigeria no matter what. So I should be able to take to. But we all have a level of absorption. We can take insult or whatever. So some of us just like to be on your own, do your own thing without anybody giving you on due insults. If I use the word insult, because what Nigerian Diaspora Organization that we are involved in at the moment has not attracted meaningful Nigerians that make impact, that can change things, that can influence things, not only within us, but within the other communities that lives in Ireland. So these guys are out there. I know there is one organization, Manufit Foundation. I know that guy. It takes people, personnel, it takes them home on medical mission, and this is something that he's been doing for a while. If you check his website, you'll see that that is a good example of people that are taking development back home. And I run an organization called Rekindle Talent.
I was going to ask you about that.
I run Rekindle Talent, and with Rekindle Talent, I go as far as involving myself in capacity building. We involve Nigerians at local community level. Let's give an example of local government chairman in Nigeria, because they are local community level. They come here for capacity development, capacity building. I've done that. I've done that before. And there are some other organizations that does that too. That bring people in here for training, for capacity building. So those other things. When I was chairman of Association of Ogun State Indigenes in Ireland, went back home, provide water through borehole in some localities. Went to some schools and said, okay, let's renovate this place and make it a library, and put ICT there. So we've done that. if you go to Association of Ogun State Indigenous website, you see all the pictures there.
Really?
And I know there are some organizations here too, some state tribal organizations that are also doing the same thing, taking development back home, like from their own little way. But from NIDO perspective, we are far away from it. We are totally far away from it.
Okay. Sum up together in a summary of all you have talked about NIDO. Will it be fair to say that NIDO has failed?
No, we have not failed. Because if I say NIDO failed, we all failed. Yes, including you. Yes, because we should not watch it fail. Are you getting me? We should make effort to turn things around. We should make effort to forget Nigerian factor and behave like a Roman. So if we can see other diaspora organizations, you see Irish diaspora are the one that turned the economy of this country around.
Of course.
When they were having challenges.
Sure,
So if we start to say that now we should put ego behind and say let's work and let's allow people that we know that have the capacity to get things done, let them do it. Not that, oh, I want to be seen, I want to have this, whereas there are people out there that has the charisma, that has what it takes, professional-wise, network-wise, association-wise, to get things done for the benefit of every one of us. And that is what is important. If at the end of the day, we all privileged from this, than one person saying, no, I want to do it, and you don't have the capacity to do it. And others will say, oh, come on, I better go as my own state association and get things done for my state, or I better go as my own NGO and get things done for my people at local community in Nigeria, than for me to be under an umbrella whereby people struggle for position, the ego pass in, personality clash. Are you getting me? And that has been our problem in NIDO.
You are the outgoing chairman. Right?
Yeah.
The outgoing chairman, NIDO, Mr. Dotun, has just spoken at large about NIDO, his experience, and what he felt is the major issue or problem or challenges facing the organization. From his own assessment and conclusion is that there is still a ray of hope or light, that the organization can still thrive, survive, and produce all of its aims and objectives and the promises she made to the Nigerians in diaspora. So he had just said that we should not give up. Now, Mr. Dotun, during the last, was that the general election you held, was in early this year or last January? That was an annual general meeting, right?
Yes.
And then there was
14,
December 14, and then suddenly the thing ended up in a fracas, a kind of, and then there was an election also. In the process, it was also declared in conclusion. What can do you want to say something about this?
Well, you mentioned inconclusive AGM. That AGM is supposed to be an AGM that we're supposed to elect new officers.
Okay, new officers.
That will take over from my leadership.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the thing could not. Things fall apart, and Center refused to get votes on that day, and it was an AGM of full of shame, and I could not believe myself that that's the way the whole thing ended up, because people were not vying for paid job, job that position that you are going to be rewarded in terms of economic reward for it. I don't know of political reward, because it depends on your own personal objective of being part of the organization. So it was a big shock and surprise for me that if we all are working in voluntary capacity with the intention to serve, we coming with the mind to serve. So I don't see the reason why there should be fracas, there should be fight when you have intention of coming to serve. Because if you let us all serve together, because it's a service to Nigeria, service to the community. But that day, it went beyond my imagination. I begin to see it as this is not service. Maybe there's something else that I may not be privileged to know. The reason why some people want to be an officer in NIDO. So that was what happened that day, and that was at the end of the day we had to declare the AGM inconclusive, and it just reminds me of things that happened back home in Nigeria, that come on, we cannot get ourselves organized to organize annual general meeting and an election. So it was something that went beyond my imagination, and I said I couldn't believe this. But hopefully they will resolve it. This is March now. Since then there has been this group or that group forming themselves into this, forming themselves into that, some laying claims, and I keep on asking myself, is there anything special that I cannot see that these people are saying for being officer in NIDO? Maybe it's a question that Nigerians should ask those people that want to get position in NIDO. I don't get it, I don't understand it. In the last 4 years, I put in my best, put in my financial resources to make the organization brand to be known in this country. Myself and my team, we work relentlessly by making government agency, government officials here in Ireland to know about NIDO brand. We built so much to make that organization more visible to other people across the country, not within Dublin alone, across the country. And every day we still ask people in their county to go and register with PPN in their county council to register the organization, so that Nigerian Diaspora Organization can be part and parcel of all what is going on in every county council area in Ireland. We'll be able to have about 8 of that done. So we have NIDO in 8 counties already operating, because the expectation is for them to have their own officers, executive, benefit from all the grants that are available to community organization in that county area. Whatever is happening there, training and all the representation, benefit from there. Then if we all benefit across the country for the sake of our children, young generation that are coming, so that we can build that foundation for them. Because I know somebody like me, when I retire, I'm going back home, because there's no place like home. So when I retire from my job here, I will have to go back home, and we are leaving the kids here because this is the country they know. And how do we prepare the ground for them for the future? And that should be one of the main things that the Nigerian Diaspora Organization should be thinking of, not about fighting for
positions and power. Oh well, we are at home, we cannot take the order from Mr. Dotun. But he had just described the scene or scenario of what happened at the AGM meeting of NIDO that took place some few months ago. In fact, it was quite appalling and shameful. People should be more, show more maturity in their level of handling social issues, national issues for that matter, so that there will be order and decency. What happened that day, is unbelievable. For the purpose of those who are not there, I would like us to quickly flash a brief. Would you mind if I show a clip of what transpired that day? That's right. So we'll show a clip of what happened that day for those of you who were not there, and then we will take a commercial break, and after that we'll come back.
I withdraw the statement. It is you. You have destroyed
But this controversy today, who do you actually think is responsible? I mean, who could you lay finger on?
I wouldn't say an individual. It's a collective will. And then we allow it.
They allow it.
And even we've done it other way around, it could have been better for us. That's the way.
What do you have to say about the attitude of Mr. Chairman?
The attitude of Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I said my comment.
Yeah, Mr. Laz, do you have anything to say about the conduct of this meeting today?
So I suppose that the meeting shouldn't have been dismissed.
Yeah.
If obviously the officers had a better plan for the meeting. The officers did not have a better plan for the meeting, and that is why the meeting was disrupted. It is very, very unfortunate that it looks as if some of the officers do have personal interest as to who will be elected and who will not be elected. And that is one of the reasons why things get distracted. Okay. So I suppose that the solution to the problem will be to propose neutral body set up in a caretaker committee that will take care and conduct a fresh election.
All right, thank you very much. And that is Mr. Laz who will be speaking to you. Just a word to our viewers at home. This meeting we're supposed to have ended successfully, but suddenly it was disrupted. What actually do you have to say about this whole of the situation as it is today?
Well, this is Nigerian team, and we have Nigerian attitude and Nigerian mentality. It is very sad that we have constitution and members are supposed to fill the form. Okay. That is what our constitution says. Okay. To be a member. Are you getting me? And after filling the form, they have to pay subscription. Okay. That is the constitutional requirement. 2 requirements for your membership. For membership. In the last 3 days, 21 people went to pay into the account against today's AGM, with the intention that they are just coming to vote for an organization they don't even know anything about. Okay. They've not been participating. We have meetings 4 times in a year, and as a member attending during that period, you know what is going on in the organization, you know what we should do going forward. So at the end of the day, if we want to be honest with ourselves, I've done my 4 years. Are you getting it? I don't have anything to gain, I don't have anything to lose. Okay. Are you getting it? But if we are talking about constitution, and we are looking at one side of the constitution, we are not looking at the other side that doesn't favor. Are you getting it? The intention. The constitution says fine, they want to pay. Okay. But this is what the constitution says. You must fill a form to be a member and pay the financial requirement. Okay, so what's the way forward from here? The way forward, I've said it many times, I've saw so many loopholes in that constitution. Over a year now, I requested them, let's have a constitution review committee so that we can pull all the loopholes that people capitalize on, so that we can tidy it up. These same people that are making trouble today were the people that say no. Who are the particular people making this trouble? The particular person is Osler. What is his interest? Or motive? No, she is like that. Okay, how are you going to bring all of them together? No, you see, you cannot bring people together when it comes to Nigeria things. They said the autonomy we must agree to disagree. We must disagree to agree. Are you getting me? We cannot all be satisfied. That's why we say democracy, we take things into vote. And we can see today now, they disrupted, they don't want things to be taken to vote. That's why I asked what the way forward. So they don't want things to be taken to vote. You put your house in and the way forward is that we go back to the financial membership forum. We have a forum for financial membership. We go back there and we make decisions on that forum. It's not my decision. It should be a decision for every one of us. I get it. We go back there and make that decision. Once that is done, we go forward. What's your name again, sir? Dotun, ADEGBESAN is my name. All right, thank you very much. And that is the outgoing chairman of NIDO, Mr. Dotun, speaking to you today on this the situation as we have seen today at the annual general meeting of the NIDO Ireland. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us. Okay, we want to talk to like you to say something about today's the situation today.
It's typical Nigerian sexist. Stalemate, that's it. The truth of the matter is just that the way I use it from every situation, I always look for something to take away from it. it might not be nice for people, they might not feel bad about what has happened. But the truth of the matter, the good takeaway that I want to take from this is just that I find out that Nigerians are becoming aware. They are becoming sensitive. You see Nigerians now carrying constitution, this guy is supposed to be. People are becoming aware. So that's my take. Though it didn't end the way it should end, but then people are becoming enlightened, kind of asking for their rights. Talking about the violations of their rights. So at least from there we can know.
In today's situation, where do you think the constitution was violated?
The major problem is I'm a lawyer, and I can tell you.
You're a lawyer?
Yes, I am.
Where is the constitution violated today?
In all fairness,
yeah.
There is a part of the constitution that has, you read constitution with respect to an event, because some of those sections contradict themselves. Not like contradict directly, but if you read it in relation to voting today, there is a section that says immediately payable. I saw that, but I didn't read it out because I'm just a new member. I saw that. But the truth is just that there is a loophole in that constitution which ought to have been filled.
What is the loophole that you identified in that?
The loophole in that constitution is the fact that it gives room to people to pay. If you read section 24 of that constitution, it gives room to pay, immediately payable. That's
and they become a member.
And they become member immediately. That is actually wrong.
So why was that a problem today?
Why was it a problem today? I really don't want to, because people are beginning to realize their rights, like I said. People are beginning to, you cannot say someone is wrong entirely when it comes to law, civil cases like this. So it's balance of probability. So everybody is weighing their rights. So no, I can't say someone is completely wrong or someone is completely right. It's on a balance of probability and the truth is it's stalemate right now.
And the reality is that is okay.
Yeah, the reality is stalemate right now.
All right, thank you very much. We cannot take all of that from. Sorry, thank you very much. We have come to you now, Mr. Zef. It's a pleasure meeting you after this long marathon extraordinary session of the annual general meeting of NIDO. What do you have to say about this meeting that has just suddenly been disrupted and it came to an inconclusive end?
Well, you see, I think this is the essence of the meeting, and this is the essence of the people. The people must have their voice, right, no matter what. And the essence of what we're doing today is an annual general meeting, and the people owe it to the administrators to now let them know how the affairs of the organization has been run. And
this is still Mr. Zef. You are trying to give us an update or highlight of today's annual general meeting when we are suddenly interrupted by the staff of the library. Can you please continue from where you stopped?
Well, like I said earlier on, this is NIDO Ireland, the NIDO Europe Island chapter, and we're having our AGM today, our annual general meeting, which ends of the NIDO current year. And the interesting thing is the outgoing chairman has actually run his his second term, and this is his final thing, although that his tenure finished on the 30th of November officially. Because of the NIDO AGM Continental, which is the whole of Europe, we had here early part of November. We have to move our internal AGM here to today. But be it as it may, and the whole thing was a kind of an uproar and a lot of distractions, and we couldn't actually finish our business of the day.
Okay, you were supposed to be candidate of the chairmanship of the incoming administration. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any particular reason why this election was disrupted today?
Well, yes. The issue there is an issue of membership. It was being argued by the outgoing chairman that some members are not qualified, and also they've just registered, but there was no provision in NIDO that said if you have financially subscribed to NIDO and that you are not a member or you're not qualified. Actually, this is what he did as our last 2 years in 2017 when he came back on the second term. and he has felt that it is not proper to continue. Fine, there are lapses, it shouldn't be continued, but something would have been done before the AGM,
okay.
and if this should be the norm, constitution should have been amended, and things would have been fixed. So, and upon all the plead that he should allow things to move on while we work on how to fix this thing, and fell on deaf ears, and he refused and said his word should go. And against the will of the members, and that was why a lot of members said, no, you can't jettison our constitution, and we have to go by our constitution. If there is any wrong with our constitution, we have to come back and fix it. All right.
Do you think that the outgoing chairman has any particular motive for taking such position?
Well, you know, the saying goes it that he has actually cleared some people who are not qualified, you know, to run the election. People who have not spent 2 years in NIDO against the remit of the constitution.
Why is he uncomfortable about those who are just suddenly registered to participate?
Well, it is, I don't know. It is something we need to find out, because I think it will be honor for him to exit honorably. Yeah. But if he chooses not to, you know, I don't know why he has chosen that.
We understand that in the course of this meeting, he went ahead to to invite the Gada or Gadi, brought in the Gadi. What prompted that action?
Well, you see, that's an unfortunate thing. If he, like I said earlier on, if he chooses the way to treat his fellow men, his fellow countrymen, Nigerians, to call the gas on them, to come and remove some of the people in the midst, I think it's very unfortunate. But that shows the leadership. And anyway, a lot of people intervene. The delegates from the embassy has to intervene and said it's not proper. And whether he wished to withdraw it or not is left for him. But you know, it was clearly stated. He said it himself that he has called the gas to remove Nigerians in a Nigerian forum, in a Nigerian community forum. It's very unfortunate.
All right, thank you very much. And that is what's your position in the current NIDO?
Well, my position, I'm a member, but I'm running for the chairmanship of the NIDO, you know, come the next administration.
Okay. All right, that is Mr. Zef, member of NIDO and running for chairmanship of the next of this election that was supposed to take place today, but suddenly was not held into some irregularities and some controversies and all of that. And we hope, like you said, that there will be an interim, maybe kind of administration that will be put in place as to when the next proper election will be conducted. Is that correct?
Well, I think it's up to the members, because we actually need to, convene and also see how we can solve the impasse. Okay. Because NIDO is a continuum. You know, no distraction, no imposition can stop NIDO from running in Ireland. Okay. But being said that, I also want to thank you, media, professionals, for finding time today to come here and to be with us and make sure that all these things, all the proceedings were actually recorded and heard. And also, I also want to use the opportunity to thank all the Nigerians who has found our time to see how we can change the face of NIDO. I'm so happy. I'm so amazed of the number and crop of Nigerians that attended this AGM today, which means Nigerians are beginning to walk. Nigerians in Ireland are beginning to say no to some imposition, and that things has to change.
We saw some, sorry, I just have to remember this now, and I'm going to comment something about it. We saw an article in form of a petition,
We are all disappointed in each other.
All right.
But at the end of the day, I keep telling people that truth is a standalone entity. The truth must always prevail. And what we see here today is that legality and illegality is in conflict. Okay? The people supporting legality and the people supporting legality, they stood their ground.
What are the illegality in this situation?
Okay, the illegality in this situation is that the constitution was contravened. So
in what way?
Yes, personal win, it was trying to take a precedence. Personal win was taking precedence. That is the problem we have.
Okay, please, I want you to critically, carefully, one by one, analyze each word you speak.
Okay.
Personal whims or sentiment is trying to take precedent. What is personal whims here?
Okay, I tell you one thing.
The
present chairman some time ago, he went to bring import people on the very day of the election.
Okay.
He imported people.
He imported people.
He imported people.
Okay.
And he is not denying it.
Okay.
And
During the time he was vying for his second time.
The
right?
second time, yeah.
All right, okay.
The first time, he was brought in such a way that where that was taken care of. Then the second one, he brought in people. And that very day, the people are not even NIDO member. That very day he was voted for.
Okay.
I happened to be one of those that happened to observe the election.
Okay.
Then he was put into power.
Okay.
All along, he had been a kind of doing some kind of manipulation.
Okay.
Thereafter, now that his tenure is coming to an end, he decided that, look, we should pick people.
Okay.
I happen to be one of those that vie for a position there. And we're supposed to vet each and every candidate if they actually fit for that position. Now he decided that no vetting. He put you there, he put you there, put the other person there, so be it. And we said, no, we cannot go like this. Then in the course of that, the electoral body, they fell out with each other. They said, no, we cannot do it in the crocodile way. We have to do it orderly. That had been the bone of contention. Today, I tell you one thing, the chairman came here to come and swear people in. It's not
swear people in?
To come and swear them in.
Without election?
No. Election had been a kind of kangaroo election. Okay?
Okay.
A kangaroo election whereby everybody moved to one direction. He has already done that. And we got a note of that. We said, no, we have to come here to tell Nigerians that despite the way Nigeria many people have seen us, there are still disciplined and sincere Nigerians. Okay. We are going to move this country forward together in such a way Nigeria will be the promised land. Okay. And we have suffered for too long in that our entity, Nigeria. And many of us, we've risen up to say enough is enough. Nigeria is for all of us. My name is Peter Ebere.
Okay, Peter Ebere, are you by any means vying for a position in this current in today's, or are you gonna?
I am vying for the position of public relation officer.
Public relation officer.
Yeah.
Now the chairman his tenure has completely ended today.
Has ended.
Yeah. So what is his interest in trying to extend?
Yeah, his tenure has ended today.
Yeah.
And he's trying to hold on to power because if we happen to exit him, okay, his how would I say, naked ambition will not be met. Because what we understand is that he's trying to use some people to continue his business empire.
He wants to go through him.
Continue to take order from him.
From him, okay.
And some of
those
us
he can manipulate.
Yeah, that can manipulate.
All right. Now
we
you
are not going to accept that.
Okay. Now you tell me, what is the way forward now? See, this situation is like this.
At this moment, the way forward is to appoint a few fellows, administrators, that will see to the loophole, that will see to the lapses, then rearrange the election. Okay. Then who lose, who wins. Okay. That is it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Peter, it's a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you very much for lending us your voice.
Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless.
All right, so yeah, welcome back, and I'm sure by the time we will be welcoming comments, from some of you who have watched that clip, and some of your concerns or questions will be addressed by the chairman here. We will do that online as time goes on. So we still continue with our program. And so, Mr. Dotun, we've been an interesting conversant, and one more thing before we end up this chat. The Igbo community here in Ireland has come under heavy pressure, leading to a lot of conflicts, crises, fighting one another, leading to this has led to fragmentation of many groups of Igbo organizations and structures in Ireland. They are utterly in disarray. They are not together. And effort has been in progress to see how best peace can be brokered between these warring factions. Now, the question I want to pose here, you are not an Igbo. You will be asked why am I presenting Igbo matter to you? The idea is that in seeking for peace or negotiating for peace, you employ every avenue that you think is relevant or can aid to the peace process. Now the problem is this: they are dragging about a probational period of 3 months, of which a particular group is supposed to reach before they qualify for election. Now, they said that particular group did not stay up to 3 months, and that was why they were defranchised. Now, the controversy is that 3 months, the way they were calculating the 3 months. How does it work, the calculation, from your own, as a neutral body now, person now, who has no parochial interest in all of this issue, but when someone see from your own good church mind, how does this thing, how is it calculated?
You see, part of what we've discussed before, you see, regardless of calculation and how we did calculate it, it's all about sincerity. If we are honest and sincere with ourselves, and if we are dealing with ourselves as having no ulterior motive for dealing the way we are doing, we'll all be perfect. We'll all be okay. If we will be sincere and know that, oh, this is the way this should be, not that we want to manipulate something to suit our own intentions. Are you getting me? So regardless of what months or what day, they are all aware of, okay, this is supposed to be the process. Let us all go with the process in all sincerity and honesty with ourselves. Are you getting me? The same thing applies to NIDO on that 14th, whereby a day before the AGM, some people said they are members that they've just joined NIDO and they have just paid into NIDO account their membership, and so the thing that happened on that is similar to what is happening here. So the point with it is that it's very painful for me as a person, not as member of the organization of Igbo Union, because I have friends among them.
You have a little clear of this?
Yes, I have very good friends among them, professional friends, personal friends among them, that I find it difficult to attend their events because this one will feel offended. You attended social person event. Oh, maybe due to one reason or the other, I'm unable to attend the other one's event. And me seeing myself that I'm in the middle, I find it difficult to attend events involving them. So it's a problem for me too, not as an Igbo man, but problem of friends of individuals that are leaders in that organization. So what before, like 12 years ago, I have my own Igbo dress. I have my cap. Yes, I have that I still put on up to today to attend events. Are you getting me? I'm a traditional Nigerian. I won't go to event in suit. No, it's either I go traditionally, be it south or north dress. So where we are going is people should understand themselves and be sincere to themselves. Let's put ego. It's all about ego.
All right, Mr.
So let them put their ego
aside. Now, we want to really know who is not being honest here. Now, tell us what is the right proper calculation. If they registered in April and the Constitution says their qualification as a full-fledged and member will be after 3 months, when will they be qualified to vote?
Yeah, when is after 3
months? Let's say they registered in April. When are they supposed to?
Yeah, then May, June, July. They are supposed to be eligible from July.
So I don't know why. So that's the crux of the matter. But this other group is still insisting that they are supposed to, they are eligible. But
you see, when you talk about group and organization, a group does not supersede the whole organization.
Yes, of course.
A group does not supersede. I can, if I'm right, when you talk about Igbo Union, you have Anambra State, you have Abia State, you have Imo State. Are you getting
Yes, another.
You have other states. Are you getting me? If a group is just one state, are you getting me? And says no, you cannot supersede
the other
ones.
Yeah.
That's the sincerity I'm talking about. We just have to put ego behind us and let's work for the general progress of everyone. So it's not only Igbo Union, only that you hear more of Igbo Union.
Yes, it's also every
other states association. I know Osun for years. They have been having Osun State Association. They also call them Osun Descendant Union, ODU is what they call them. For years they've got 2 leaders, struggling. So it's something that is common to Nigerians. We just have to forget about our ego and just move forward.
All right, thank you very much. I will be speaking to the outgoing chairman of NIDO, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, Mr. Dotun, Donald Adekoso. He has been a very lively person to talk to, and he has also informed us on a number of issues about our community. I want to thank you again, Mr. Dotun, for being part of this interview and for enlightening our society and community on the way forward. Igbo Union Dublin, you have had the truth today. I guess if I were you, I would just drop all of that ego and of those, pride and make peace with one another. The truth is as clear as a crystal, and here is a person with non-partisan parochial interest, a very neutral person, has given you the truth from a clear mind and a clear conscience. So, according to the Bible, a word is enough for the wise. And so, Mr. Dotun, as a very busy person, you are a multidisciplinary, career-driven person, professional management strategist, or a lot of, you also run a non-governmental organization, Rekindle. I don't want us to, we are running out of short of time, but I would like you to tell us a little bit of the Rekindle talents. And also understand there's another program, conference, that has to do with women. All these are under your, what a busy person you are. How do you navigate and manage all these things with family life? You have, in the first place, are you a family man?
I'm a family man, and it's only you can only be a community person if you're a family man. Because if you don't have a family kind of interest, exposure, passion, you can't be a community person. You can't be a community person. And the community is also part of my family, because I always want things get done. We get to achieve our goals and objectives. It's parcel of what I aspire every day. So I'm a family man with 3 children, and the way I manage my time with family, my family knows my kind of person, always willing to give back to the community. It has always been my aspiration from onset. So it's something that I'm able to manage on day-to-day basis. It's like my life is incomplete if I don't do all those community things. That's the way by default I found myself doing it, regardless of whether I like it or not. So something will just put me into it and be part of it.
So, all right, that is again Donald Trump of Nigeria. That's interesting chatting with you. You've been an interesting, lively, and charming personality, and we are impressed with this chat. And now, the very last time, I keep on saying the last time, I never get finishing. And now, this is common saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. So, who is that woman behind this very successful man that you assist?
Well, it's a very big question, especially when you say behind a successful
of course,
man.
You can't deny that fact.
There is always a woman, but I don't put it that way. I put it, there is always a family. Are you getting me? Because if the family are not supportive,
that's a good one.
You can't get there. Because if the family are giving you problem,
this is exactly what I said to my family. Exactly. You have that perception. You don't have that focus, that drive. Don't go for that.
You will have the
mind. That is good.
So I give it to the family.
You're right.
Every successful
family.
person.
with the family.
It must be a good family.
Yeah.
Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Because and you know the definition of family is combination of all of them.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you're giving them all of them the credit instead of just saying,
it's a woman.
A woman, or behind every successful woman is a man. No, it should be the family.
A collective responsibility.
A collective responsibility that makes it.
All right, okay. We want to meet your wife.
Oh, my wife is not around.
No, within her, he mean you have to tell us what's her name, where is she from? What's she like?
Oh, yes. My wife is from Nigeria.
Okay.
And then she was from Abeokuta in Nigeria.
Okay.
So, and she's a beautiful woman.
I know. Who will not say his mother's soup is sweet? All right, if we are starting with that, we come to the end of this exciting series and chat with outgoing chairman Dotun ADEGBESAN. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for being part of the show. And so, till I come your way again, I am Gift Obey, managing editor, Diaspora TV Dublin. Remember blessed and goodbye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care. Right. Yeah. Thanks.